Good evening, everyone. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Okay, thank you. So, yesterday we had started with the meaning of benchmarking. What is benchmarking that we had discussed in yesterday's session, as well as we had started with the various types of benchmarking. Internal benchmarking we had already discussed, as well as two benchmarkings from external benchmarking also we had discussed, that is collaborative benchmarking and process benchmarking. The remaining four we will be discussing in today's session, and then we will move forward. So before we start with, just a overlook at what is the meaning of benchmarking. So benchmarking are the standards set by the organization against which the performance of employee or the performance of the organization is measured, and that is called as benchmarking. Every organization has its own benchmarking standards, whether it's a small organization or a multinational organization. Every organization has its own benchmarks, and against those benchmarks, that is pre-designed performance standards of the organization, they calculate or measure the performance of employees, the performance of teams, or the performance of the entire organization. So that is, in simple words, the meaning of benchmarking. Types internal we had discussed. We were discussing the external benchmarking. Now we will start with the product benchmarking. Now, product benchmarking means that the organization has set up a standard that this will be the quality of our product. Now, every organization, every manufacturing organization in particular, have a quality control department. Now, the role of quality control, we all are aware that whenever the products are manufactured, before going to the packaging or before reaching the market, each and every product goes through that quality check process. Now, quality check is that whether the product which has been manufactured in the organization meets the quality parameters of the organization, and that is called as benchmarking of the organization. So this way, the product benchmarking is done by the organization. So those product which meets the standard set by the organization, they are approved and they are forwarded to the packaging department, and those who do not meet the standard, they are rejected. So not only the organization under product benchmarking measures the quality of the product or its product with its own standards, but it also tries to study the competitor's product. That okay, we are manufacturing mobile phone, and this is the quality or parameters of our mobile phone. Now the company, apart from checking its own quality parameters for its mobile phone, they try to check against the parameters of the other competitors also. For example, if for our company the major competitor is, say, Samsung, so our company, what they will be doing, they will be studying the product benchmarking of Samsung also, that what is the quality check criteria of Samsung, how it is implemented, how they bring new changes in the quality check, how they introduce new specification, what is the market share of that particular product in of the competitor. So all these things are studied under benchmarking. And it is not that once you have written the SOPs or a benchmarking is set, that benchmarking cannot be changed. Of course, the benchmarking can be changed. And it is, when it is changed only for the betterment, not for anything else. The moment the company realizes that the benchmarking process of Samsung is better than R, they try to study that particular process, and they try to find out whether we can implement that process in our own company. And if we implement, whether we can get the same results. So the moment they feel that yes, we can implement and we can get the better results also, because that benchmarking process is slightly better than us. So the company will reject its own and they will start implementing the competitors' benchmarking standards. And that is called as product benchmarking. Next one is corporate benchmarking. Corporate benchmarking is a higher level benchmarking strategies. That means the one corporate company is trying to study the benchmarking procedures or standards of the other company. Now, why they are studying the benchmarking standard or process of other companies? Just to find out what the competitor companies are doing, why the competitor is having more market share than our company. Can we outperform, or how we can outperform our competitor? So they try to copy or try to implement the strategies, like benchmarking strategy of the other companies also. That is the higher level strategies. That's the reason why it is called as corporate benchmarking. Next one is strategic benchmarking. Strategic benchmarking, here one company is studying not only its own strategy and the result of its own strategy, but they are studying the strategy of other companies also. Now, for example, one company is studying its marketing strategy. Now, when they are going to study their marketing strategy, they will also study, or they will try to measure the result of that marketing strategy. Now, result of marketing, end result of any marketing strategy is what? End result of any marketing strategy is that whether the company is able to increase its sale. If the company is able to increase the sale in a good number, we can say the marketing strategy of the company is successful. Strategy is made by great strategists, those who are renowned, who are respected all over the world in terms of strategy making. And when that strategy, which is made by the best brain in corporate, when that strategy is implemented on ground, the results are not good. That strategy is unable to increase the sale of the product of the company, then we will say that the strategy is unsuccessful. So it doesn't matter that, or we cannot guarantee that every strategy which is proposed by the greatest management thinker is going to be successful. Many times it may not be. So in strategic benchmarking, the company studies its own strategy and the result of the strategy, as well as they are more keen to know the strategy of the competitor and the result of that strategy for the competitor. That is very important for every company, because every company in competition, what happens is we are looking at the strategy of our company, but we are more concerned with the competitor strategy. Okay, we are aware that we have implemented this particular strategy, and while preparing the strategy, we calculated that if we implemented this strategy, we will be able to increase our sales by this percent. So that calculation we had done. Now we are more interested in what will be the strategy of the competitor, and what are the results of that particular strategy, and that is called as strategic benchmarking. Every company, they are interested in knowing more and more about the strategy implementation and strategy implementation result of the competitor. Now the reason is very simple, because they want to outperform the competitor, and that is the reason why many companies keep their strategy very secret, very secret. All of a sudden they will introduce a strategy, all of a sudden they will make changes in the strategy. Why they are keeping their strategies very secret? So that the other competitors cannot copy those strategies. That is very important. Now last one is the global benchmarking. Global benchmarking means that, for example, if a manufacturing company, electrical appliances manufacturing company, is operating in India, so they are trying to study the strategies of the electrical appliances companies which are functioning in, say, Australia or in America or in European countries. So how they are preparing benchmarking, and how they are measuring against those benchmarking. What is the result? Can we implement those practices in India? That is checked, right? And that is called as global benchmarking. Now, many times, I have just told you that it is not that every time when we are trying to copy the competitor, or when we are trying to say implement a strategy, every time we may not be successful in implementation or in getting the result of that particular strategy. Now a very recent example which everyone, I hope that everyone is aware of, that when Tesla was launched in India, it was decided by the company that the four metropolitan cities, they will be launching, it will be starting from Mumbai, and within some months the company have realized that whatever calculations they had made, that when we will be introducing Tesla in Indian market, we will be entering in the four cities, metropolitan cities. Why four metropolitan cities? Because the cost of Tesla, they were aware that the cost of the Tesla is more as compared to the other electric cars available in India. So we want to target people who are rich, who are wealthy, who can afford that particular car. Now, that was the reason why they decided that they will be entering the Indian market through metropolitan cities. In that calculation, also, that was their strategy. In that strategy, they had calculated that we will be selling these many cars in Mumbai, in Delhi, and in other metropolitan cities. Later on, they realized that strategy, just imagine a strategy which is prepared by the officials of Tesla. Now, those officials are considered as the best employees or best officials in that particular sector, because they had implemented strategies not only in America, but in America, in European countries, in other countries, and they have tasted success out of that strategy implementation. So same strategy they wanted to they implemented in India, and they could not succeed, or they could not get the success which they had calculated or which they were expecting. Why? Because situation in India is far different than in Europe or American countries. So we cannot copy exactly the strategy of the other companies, but of course the companies try to study the strategy of the others, and they try to mold that strategy according to the concerned market. For example, European market can be different, Indian market can be different. So the things which are working in Europe, we are very not very sure that same things are going to work in India also, because of many reasons. The needs of the customers are different in both the continents. The taste is different. The purchasing power is different. The customer preferences are different. So what the companies try to do is, when they are studying, like strategy benchmarking or corporate or product or global or any type of benchmarking, they try to study as, and then they try to mold that strategy according to the requirement of that particular industry, that particular sector, in that particular country. So that is very important, and that is the meaning of global benchmarking. Otherwise, if whatever we are implementing in one country, same if we are implementing in the other country, then the it may not be very successful. Now there is a very say uh, example of a Indian car company, Tata. That example is related to Land Rover. Now, we all are aware that Land Rover is a foreign brand which is acquired, or which was acquired by Tata Group of companies, Tata Motors. Now, when the Land Rover is from a European brand, England. So when Tata Group acquired that Land Rover, the financial health of the company was not good. Why? Because the car was excellent, security features were excellent, performance was excellent, everything was good with the car. But still, the car was not liked in the American market or in the other European countries. And that was the reason why the sales of car was coming down and the car was not making profit. That was the reason why the Ford Motors decided that they are going to sell off that particular brand. So when Tata acquired, they studied that why American customers are not interested in purchasing Land Rover. Now, in that particular study, they came to know that the American customers were having many option which was uh, very much similar to the features of Land Rover. Now they were having Ford Motors. Ford was having say the those version or those similar type of cars like Land Rover. Now, while doing the study, they realized that the American roads are very flat. There are no speed breakers or very less speed breakers are there. Their roads are very clean, neat, and flat. And at that particular time, they decided to conduct a experiment. Now, in that experiment, a very big speed breaker was created, was made artificially, it was created. And then they demonstrated that how the other American cars, because the most of the car companies in America were having low ground clearance facility. Low ground clearance means that because the roads are very flat, there are very less speed breakers or no speed breakers at all in on most of the roads. So the companies were coming up with the low road clearance design, whereas the this particular car, Land Rover, it came with a high road clearance. So when the obstacle was created on a road, when the other brands car they were approaching, they were driving on the road, no other car brand was able to cross that speed breaker or obstacle. Now, the reason was because of their low road clearance. And then the Land Rover came in, and Land Rover very easily crossed that speed breaker or obstacle. Then the second experiment was that straight steps were there, some steps were there, and they people and the company Land Rover car came in, and it went through the stairs also. So that demonstrated the power of the Land Rover, and that attracted the American customers. That if we purchase this car, it comes with a great power. It can say run on the stairs also. It can clear the higher speed breakers or higher obstacles also. So it's a very powerful car. And that advertisement or that experiment led to increase in the sale of the company. So that is how the companies, Ford Motors is one of the biggest company, and earlier, now it is not the world market leader, but for many years Ford Motors was the world market leader. So market lead, the company which has been world market leader could not design a strategy, but a Indian company, they came up with a strategy, and they made the product successful in America. So American company failed, and Indian company they succeeded. So that is how we are understanding the strategy, and we are trying to mold that strategy as per the requirement. That is very important. So that's the reason why it is said copy paste is not going to work. We have to study, yes, what our competitors are doing, that we should be aware of, but we cannot directly copy the strategy and implement that strategy. Instead of that, study the strategy of the competitor, understand the strategy, and then try to analyze whether we can implement that strategy. If yes, what changes we have to do to implement the strategy in our company to get the same results. That is very important. So that is related to the external benchmarking and internal benchmarking. Now we will move on to the next topic, that is the benefits of comparative analysis in benchmarking. So far, if you have not understood related to anything related to internal and external benchmarking, please unmute and you can ask questions. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, thank you. So now we will move on to another topic, that is comparative analysis in benchmarking. What are the comparative analysis means? When we are comparing. Analysis is when we are analyzing. Analyzing what? Analyzing our own process and trying to compare our own process with the competitor's process, and then analyzing our process and the competitor's process, and that is called as comparative analysis in benchmarking. Now first one, we are talking about the benefits, that is the advantages, merits of comparative analysis in benchmarking. That when we are designing the performance standards of our organization, that is benchmarking, why we have to first do a comparative analysis, and after doing the comparative analysis properly, then we should uh, design our benchmark. So first one is identify the areas of improvement. So that is the first benefit of comparative analysis, identify areas for improvement. Now, there is a saying, very simple, very old saying, that there is always a scope for improvement. And Japanese companies are considered as the companies which believed in this particular concept in total. In total. That was the reason why the Japanese company ruled all over the world in 80s and in 90s in particular. 80s and 90s was the Japanese era. And the reason is that they always believed in one concept, which is called as continuous improvement. And they came in with a concept called Kaizen. Most of you might have heard the name Kaizen. Now, Kai means small, Zen means improvement. So Kaizen is small, small improvement. So they were of the opinion that we cannot be sure that we have achieved 100%. Now there is no further scope for improvement. They believe that every time there is a scope of improvement. They also believe that it is not, that every time people sitting in the higher hierarchy can come up with the best possible solution for a problem, or they can come up with a best suggestion. All the people, whether lower, middle, or upper, anyone can come up with a great idea, which can be, again, give the company uh, profits. So that was the reason why, because we all are aware that how the entire country, that is Japan, got destroyed in 1945 during the World War because of the nuclear bombs. Nothing was there, no natural resources, everything was destroyed. The largest two cities of the country was completely destroyed. And within a period of, say, 30 to 40 years, just think of a country which has lost everything, and then that country is bouncing back and ruling the world after 30, 40 years. So one important reason is that they always believed in improvements. So benchmarking is identify the area of improvement. Identify the area of improvement. We are talking about comparative analysis. So when we study our benchmarking or our process, and then we are studying the process of the other companies also, at that particular time we come to know that, okay, that competitor is number one in the sector because of this. So can we implement all those things in our company also? So we need to identify that areas of improvement, that where we need to improve, why Apple is able to attract or retain the customers. So Samsung can study that, and Samsung can study that where are the requirement of for improvement, why a customer who purchases Apple sticks to Apple only, why when the person who has purchased already iPhone, after 2 years or after 1 years, when the person decides to go for a new phone, most of the time it is seen that the person is going to purchase Apple iPhone only. So why the customer, why iPhone, or how iPhone is able to retain the customers in this present market? Because retaining customer is very, very, very difficult, extremely difficult. Why? Because every time new companies are coming up, new products are coming up, they are coming up with various freebies, various say schemes. So it is very difficult nowadays to retain your customers. So the one mobile, any mobile marketing mobile company can study the strategy of iPhone, that how they are able to retain most of their customers, how they are able to attract them again and again. Many times, for example, if I am using say Redmi, next time I want to purchase a phone and my budget is say 10 to 12,000 rupees, and if I get to know that Vivo is giving me more facilities or more say specifications, immediately instead of Redmi I will shift to Vivo. But most of the customers have not shown that change in their preferences while purchasing the mobile of iPhone users. That is very important. So that is where the first stage is identify the areas of improvement where we can improve, how they can retain the existing customers and attract new customers, why we are unable to retain our old customers, how we can retain our customers. That can be studied under the first thing, that is areas, identify areas of improvement. Next one, setting the performance targets. Setting the perform Once you have identified that these are the areas of improvement. For example, if the company decides, any company is there, and they come to know that the competitor is having better after sales service, which and as compared to our after sales services. So setting the second stage of setting performance target will be what? That we will try to say improve our after sales customer service on the lines of our competitor. When they are able to implement or provide a better after sales services, we will also try to uh, provide a better after sales services. So that is called as setting the performance targets. Next one, gaining competitive advantage. Now, how to gain competitive advantages? Now, many companies now, 3 4 days back when we were discussing about the strategy, marketing strategy. Now, many companies have come up with various innovative marketing strategies. Earlier, Blinkit or Zepto was there, Zomato was there, or earlier before that, that 30 minutes delivery was, say, introduced by Domino's. Now, the companies, the Flipkart Minutes is there, then Amazon Minutes is there. So they have also joined in. Now, why they have joined in? Because they are aware that if we want to outperform our competitors, we have to attract new customers. And how we can attract the new customers? By gaining a competitive advantage. If my competitor is if my competitor is delivering the purchased product in, say, half an hour, how I can deliver that product in lesser time? And this has resulted in you order a product which is there in Flipkart Minutes, you may get it within 10 minutes also, within 10 minutes. So just think how seriously the companies are thinking about the competitors' strategy, and how they are making changes in their strategy to outperform the competitor strategy. So that is the third one, that is gaining competitive advantage. Now, these players, that is Flipkart and Amazon, they are big companies. They can provide better, say, discounts as compared to the other companies. Now, Big Basket, Reliance Retail, or the other companies, they are also providing. They are the old players in this particular market. Now, how to outperform these old players? For that, they have come up. The new giants have come up with what? Better discounts. So, if I want to, say, purchase a particular product, so what I will be doing? I will be comparing that what is the price of this particular product. For example, if I want to purchase a packet of mushroom, so what I will be doing is, first I will be checking in what one platform, maybe say Big Basket. Then I will check what is there in Reliance, what is the price in Reliance, then what is the price in say Amazon, or what is the price in Flipkart, what is the delivery time they are showing, and I will try to go for the shorter delivery and the best discount. So best discount can be my first preference. If I'm getting on a packet of mushroom, if I'm getting say 10% discount in Big Basket, 12% in Reliance, 20% in Flipkart, and 22% in Amazon, so I will go for Amazon, because every customer wants to say save money. We or the mentality of Indians are that we want to save money. We like discounts. Whether we are educated or not educated, we are inclined towards discount. So that is how the companies are gaining competitive advantage. And the experts are of the opinion that in the next 1 year or two, there will be a drastic change in this particular sector. So giant players may take over these small companies, because for the small companies it is not possible to provide more discount which is possible for the large giants. Next one is the fourth stage is enhancing decision making. Now once we study the modus operandi of our competitor, it becomes easier for us to come up with a better decision than the competitor and implement that decision in our own company. Implementing the, so let's come up with a better strategy to outperform my competitor, and that is the fourth stage, which is called as enhancing decision making. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And the last one is driving continuous improvement. That is very important. I have just told you that how the Japanese companies ruled the world for around 20 years in 80s and 90s. The top companies, out of those top companies, the majority of the companies now, you say, um, talk about 10 top companies of the world, most of the companies you will find of America, USA. But that situation was not same in 80s and 90s. 80s and 90s was the year of manufacturing companies. Now we are not seeing any manufacturing company in top 10. All the companies are service providers. They are into AI or uh, say computers or softwares. So the situation has changed. So in 80s, in 90s, when the manufacturing companies were at the top, and top 10 manufacturing companies, if uh, we see the top 10 manufacturing companies of the world in 80s and 90s, you will find most of the companies will be from the Japan. It was the craze of Japanese companies was so much that the American automakers had to approach the government of America because when Toyota was launched in America, it was a big hit. People started just buying Toyota cars instead of Ford or other American cars, that is General Motors or the Ford cars. So that was because of one thing, that is continuous driving, continuous improvement. They believed in continuous improvement in what? In all the aspects, continuous improvement in quality, continuous improvement in performance, continuous improvement in after sales services as well. And that resulted in the success of the Japanese companies. So that is related to the benefits of comparative analysis in benchmarking. Now, the 10-step process in benchmarking analysis, how that analysis is carried out. What is that 10-step process in benchmarking analysis that we are going to discuss? So far, if you have not understood anything, please unmute and you can ask question, or else we will start with this 10 step. Okay. So first, we are talking about 10-step process in benchmarking analysis. That when we are studying the benchmarking, first one, select a subject to benchmark. That what performance standard we want to set. Whether we want to set a performance standard for employees output, or performance standard for quality of the product, or performance standard for say quality of the raw material or price of the raw material. So that the company has to select, number one. So that is the first stage. Second one is determine the demographics of your target customers. So every company has to first decide that who are going to be our target customers. Every company. Because then only you can come up with a product as per their requirement. Now, if iPhone starts coming up with advertisements, and those advertisements are one page advertisements are being released in, say, the uh, daily evening newspapers means the newspapers which are, say, read by the rickshawalas or by fruit walas or by people who are doing very small businesses. There are some evening newspapers. The cost of the paper is very less, so they can afford to purchase that paper also. Then there are certain fortnight paper, that means once in a fortnight they are published. Now, in the Sinhagad area also, there is one paper which is published in Marathi, and the name of the paper is Sinhagad Parisar. Now, Apple iPhone is not going to release a full page advertisement in such papers. They release full page advertisement, you might have seen, in Indian Express, in Sakal, in Lokmat, in Times of India, in Business Standard, in Economic Times, because they are aware that these are the papers which are which are subscribed by people who are having good income. but they are not going to release their advertisement in Sinhagad Parisar or a paper like that, because they are aware that people who are reading those papers, they are getting these papers either for free or for a very lower price, and these people are no, cannot be our customers. So that is the importance of determine the demographics of your target audience. So that is one part. One part is what is the income of our your customers. Then what could be the age group of the customer? Now if we take the age group also, majority of the customers are the young people in the sense who are in the bracket of say 20 to say 35 years. They are the majority of the customers of iPhone. So iPhone has to study this demographics, whether males are more inclined towards purchasing uh, the iPhone or females. What is the statistics? What is the demographics? Whether rural people are who are having money, they are interested in purchasing iPhone, or people who are living in urban or semi-urban areas, they are when they are having money, they will be purchasing iPhone. So all this demographics is to be studied under the benchmarking analysis by the company. Third one, decide which entities you want to benchmark, that is your competitors. That if you want to carry out a benchmarking analysis, you have studied your own strategy and its implementation. Now you want to study the strategy or the process of your competitor. Now here you need to say select that who is the competitor whom you will be studying, whom you will be say analyzing, because there can be many competitors in the field. So you cannot study all the competitors. So many companies, what they do is they try to study their biggest competitors. So it depends upon company to company. So the third stage says that decide which entities you want to benchmark. For example, you need to here uh, find out that who is your competitor, and okay, if you are having 10 competitors, out of 10 you will be studying two competitors. Now who are those two competitors? It can be Mr. A and Mr. D, or A company and D company. Next one is document your process. So whatever strategy after the analysis part, or whatever strategy you have made, you need to document it. Whatever the strategy you have studied that the competitor is implementing, you need to document that strategy. So your strategy is on one page, the competitor strategy you have written on the other page. Now the next one, that is the fifth one, is collect and analyze the data to find improvement scope. Now start collecting the data on the basis of your and on the basis of competitor strategy. Now data related to what? Data related to input and output. Input and output means that what is the investment you have made, and how much profit you are able to make because of your strategy. How much investment the competitor has made, and how much profit the competitor has earned out of that investment by implementing his or her own strategy. So that you need to collect the information and then do the analysis and find out the improvement scope, that with less investment they could earn more profit. So how, with the help of less investment, we can also earn more profit. That we need to study. Now, the sixth one is measure your performance against the data you have collected. So, data you have collected. So, here the both you need to measure. Next is realign your goals with insights. Now, once you have the entire data, you are aware that these are the things you need to improve upon your benchmarking. Uh, so you can say realign your goals. So make those changes and start implementing. Next is create a plan of action. Okay, you have come to know that these are the changes which you will be making, which is going to say reduce your investment and improve your profit. So that is number 7. So number 8 is create a plan of action. You have written, now you need to create a plan that okay, you are aware that this is the change which you want to implement. Now how you are going to implement that change, that is the 8th step. Next is implement the change. So the change which you had planned, the plan of action for implementing change that you have written, that now in the 9th stage you have to put it on ground, you have to implement it on ground actual. And the last one is repeat the process. So it is not that you have done it, you have suggested the changes, you have prepared the plan for change, and you have implemented the change once. Then the last step is repeat that process again and again and again till you find that again some competitor has come up with some other strategy, and that strategy is giving more profit to the competitor. Again the same step is to be followed. So that is what the 10-step process in benchmarking analysis is. If you have not understood anything, please unmute yourself, or and you can ask the question. Now the next one is Porter's value chain model. Now, here it is written Porter's value chain model in a nutshell. In a nutshell means in brief, we will see. So, in today's session, as only 1 minute is remaining, so I'll just read out what is written under that on the slide. And in tomorrow's session, we will be discussing in detail about what is Porter's value chain model is. So, in his 1985 book, Competitive Advantage, Porter explains that a value chain is a collection of processes that a company performs to create value for its customers. As a result, he asserts that value chain analysis is directly linked to competitive advantage. Porter's value chain model is a strategic management tool developed by Harvard Business School professor Michael Porter. The tool analyzes the company's value chain defined as combination of process that the company uses to make money. So value chain analysis or value chain model, Dr. Uh, Michael Porter, who was the management professor from Harvard Business School, he has come up with this particular model, which is called as Porter's value chain model. So, in detail, we will be discussing about the uh, in details about the various factors involved in this particular model. Particularly, we will be talking about what are the support activities of an organization and what are the primary activities of the organization. So that we will be discussing in the tomorrow's session, as well as we will also be discussing about the organizational capabilities. So thank you everyone for being present in today's session. Tomorrow again we will be meeting at the same time. Thank you.